Oh, when you say don't dislike. Anyway, okay.
What's wrong?
Nah, never mind. We're gonna go live now. Hey guys, Sabrefox91o here, and welcome to the DGL Amber Do or Die Cup. Guys, today is a beautiful day, and I am joined with Ulturism here. Ulturism, let's give him a nice little welcome.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. What's up? Hope you guys are ready. We're getting so anxious to get this game started. I see the guys in chat are starting to really start asking, get really excited for this just as much as I am.
Yeah, definitely. I actually see we already have some few people waiting for us, and just in time, because the lobby is just up as we are about to actually play you guys some music while we wait for them, but looks like we don't have to do that. Wonderful. So yes, so what do you think is your predicaments for these two teams? So xTc Black, which we actually just casted yesterday, and then vLBaka onii-chan.
Jeez, I'm excited for this. I mean, last night we saw patches with a pretty impressive Widowmaker play, considering Widow's not all that amazing in the meta at this stage. Well, just not as prevalent as we normally see some of the other heroes. Patches made that work really, really nicely. He has a very good sense of positioning that a lot of players, especially on DPS, don't have. So he's someone to watch, definitely. Woor on his Roadhog last night was phenomenal. So it's very, very interesting to see, I'm sure, if he pulls off the same sort of hooks that we saw last night and how consistent those can be, especially if we go to something like a King of the Hill map where those hooks become so important.
Oh no, definitely. With Wood actually being an insane Roadhog, I'm actually quite interested to see what I'm gonna call them onii-chan because it's easier for me to say onii-chan. So I'm quite interested to see what onii-chan is gonna pull out, to see what they can actually do. Seeing as the previous game they did play against Pew Pew Gaming, if I'm not mistaken, let me just quickly have a little look here. Yeah, they played against Pew Pew Gaming Overwatch, and they took that with a 2-1 victory. That's actually should have been a very close game for that. And xTc actually did get a bye, so xTc just kind of walked into this kind of finals. But onii-chan actually worked their way up to this, so I am quite interested to see what they actually cooked up in preparation for xTc. So yeah, it's quite. I might be gonna give you quite an intense game.
I certainly think so as well. We saw that xTc. I have not seen this Baka team before. That's what I'm calling them tonight, guys. It's just Baka onii-chan. That is the same team. So you know what? I'll stick with you. I'll go with onii-chan as well. But I haven't seen these guys in action at this stage, so I'm not sure what to play. What sort of plays they're going to be doing. Shout out to Dark Magician here. And I used to play Dota back in the day. Rather, but I'm not sure what their team is like. But we did see a lot from xTc last night. We saw them be incredibly powerful on attack. On King's Row, they managed to push that payload with almost like no time with the payload actually being stopped. First push onto the point, they were there, cleaned out the other team, Eden, and just pushed the payload straight to the end in one. So they are very, very dangerous on attack. They are slightly worse on defense though, and so that might be something that they've worked on in the last 24 hours. But other than that, that's the sort of playstyle that they've got running for them. And I'm very interested to see what onii-chan can do.
Yes, just before we carry on, apparently we're getting some complaints about my pronunciation of onii-chan. What a nice little accent, but still, I do apologize for the pronunciations. I am, after all, Afrikaner, and I'm trying to speak English, so let's go over it. But anyway, it seems we do have the maps. We have Lijiang Tower,
Gibraltar.
Gibraltar. My mistakes, man. And then the deciding map will be Dorado if it does come to a third map. Seems like we are starting off on Lijiang Tower, which is a control map. One of the favorites would actually do not get picked that often. So yes, and actually xTc did play this map yesterday against it was Ian Eden. So yes, they are I think pretty warmed up and hopefully did learn a thing or two against Eden. So yes. What do you think? What is your predicaments on that first map there? Seeing we actually haven't seen onii-chan play.
I'm very interested to see this. I mean, I'm not sure who exactly got to pick Li Jiang, because considering xTc yesterday went down 3-0 yesterday against Eden on that map. I'm surprised that they really want to play that again. So you might have found that this is actually onii-chan choosing that map as after seeing it yesterday. But it might just be that now that this xTc side thinks that they figured out the map and maybe they can do slightly better on this time around. They didn't choose King's Row, which is interesting, considering how well they did on it last night. I would have thought that would have been a pick for them to certainly exploit, because they certainly seem to be very, very comfortable on it. But they have got 2 payload maps on, so maybe they just feel better, slightly better on Gibraltar than they do on King's Row, maybe better on Dorado. And we'll have to see how they do. But they are both very powerful teams, I'm pretty sure, and I think both these guys are going to have a really good competition for us tonight.
Yeah, no, definitely. But then again, like I say, Legion Tower is not really something that gets picked that often. But then again, when we get to cast new maps, it's actually good because it keeps things interesting. If you constantly play the same maps, it's just gonna be a rinse and repeat thing, and then it's just gonna get boring. I mean, if you constantly scrape one piece of area, it's just gonna get clean and nothing's gonna become of it. It's just gonna be you want the dirty hard stuff that actually makes it interesting, otherwise there's no point in watching if it's the same thing over. Hashtags Counter-Strike on that area. But anyway, yes, I am quite interested to see what these guys are going to be pulling out and what combinations they are going. It seems we have patches yet again on the Widowmaker. Very nice pick there, and Verd is still picking Toy Rocket on Tracer there. It seems Verd is going support on the Lucio, so yes.
That's an interesting thing to see. He did that Roadhog that we saw last night, and he did it to great success. Big Papadina is again on his Ana. The Anas yesterday were some of the actual key deciding factors, and Big Papa was really good in his position. Very seldom gets picked off, and he did a lot of healing towards his team. Nazul's back on his Reinhardt that he did really well with yesterday. Has a phenomenal pin ratio that he hits most of them, but he does struggle sometimes with pinning at the wrong time, where he just ends up charging through the team, gets one, but ends up with his back now to the rest of the team, and the 5 players just end up shredding him to pieces. So it'll be very interesting to see if he can pull back. Wood is actually very far forward on the Lucio in this match, and he sees that his team isn't actually with him, and he pulls back behind the Reinhardt shield.
Yeah, it seems like we have Skies here on the Reinhardt here, being very aggressive there. It needs a bit of help. Gets taken down at the end there. We see onii-chan is already on the point, seeing what they can do. Actually, a bit prematurely there, and xTc is pushing them off completely. They are split out. Primes just suiciding, jumping off. Could not handle the pressure there. Sadly, had to run away there. And it seems like xTc did a nice little push to start getting the point, the first points and the first push. So let's hope they can actually work on a defense. And actually let's hope they can't, because I actually want to see what onii-chan can do, and if they can completely push them off here.
Certainly a really nice patient push from them there. We saw that onii-chan went through that door first, tried to get to the point, and then turned around and fought, and Nazul kept his barrier up. Everyone just stayed behind him really nicely, making sure no one got a pick off very early, allowed patches from the back to do a lot of damage, and they just waited for the onii-chan side to get out of position. So we see Nazul going in there, and Prime's left on alone on the edge. He's facing off 1v1 versus Wood's Lucio, in fact, and now he's stuck in a very compromising position. Cannot get out of this one. He's on high charge, but it doesn't do anything when the rest of his team isn't there to back him up. And just a really nice bit of splitting there from this side of xTc to get the hold here in this really devastating choke point, if you can control it nicely.
Oh no, definitely. Patches is doing an insane job there with the Widowmaker, getting at least a double kill there from their spawn side. So that really cost them a lot of time there, meaning they have to basically regain themselves and group up again. We have there Nazubia getting in a prematurely, getting a nice nano boost there on him, just swinging away that hammer of earth shots are going down. Only getting Dark off there, which is McCree, and actually that is a very good earth shots, because something I've learned. If you can at least get one player down, that is already an advantage for your team. That's 5v6 then. Toy Rocket actually get taken down there, being a little bit of an annoyance there for onii-chan, but it doesn't matter because xTc is pulling back to a nice defensive little area so they can get back.
Toy Rocket has been sitting very far forward in this, and there he does make it go wrong, but in the rest of it, he's been getting some really nice pressure, and he's actually gotten more ultimates than anyone else in the game. Here we see an incredible nice Graviton Surge there, gets the sticky bomb to finish off 4 of them there. Such a nice combination from Bones and Toy Rocket there, just to shut out this point. Such a nice bid. We probably see that on the player of the game at this stage, because that was a wonderful combination. Bones just being very patient, only got 1 ultimate in that game, but he used it to such great effect. That side, the onii-chan side, knew that they had to get on the point there as a team and to try and shut it down, and they got caught with a beautifully placed Graviton Surge. The team spread out. Unfortunately, Sigs couldn't get that shield up and protect everyone. He did very, very well to block a lot of the damage, but the xTc side just surrounded them and did a huge amount of damage, and excellently played from the side of xTc on that first point.
Yeah, you actually see onii-chan actually did do the counter picks to see if they can actually like counter patches or even Nazure, but sadly it didn't be much use to them because they had actually built up all the ultimates, and as you said, see they actually couldn't keep up that shield to protect everyone. I know that pain myself when it comes to, you know, keeping a whole team defended with that shield, and sadly it's not always that fun. Toy Rocket there on the front line there with the whole team there. We have the rushes going in there and a double tank team there on Nazul trying to get the Winston down there, which is Prime. Gets hooked there. I think we have a triple tank meta there. Yeah, triple tank meta. There's only 2 up there at the moment. They're fighting over the points at the moment, pushing everybody off. And it seems like onii-chan has the upper hand at the moment, capturing that point and gets it, pushing xTc off completely. Winston is completely wiping them off, keeping them so annoyed and at bay at this moment. That's a very good start there for onii-chan, showing xTc they also are forced to be reckoned with.
Certainly a great push in the beginning there. They just stuck together. We saw Toy Rocket going in there and scouting them in the beginning, but wasn't able to get out in time. Sigs managed to get a lovely pin on him, shuts him down. I thought Sigs was actually going to go down there on his Reinhardt, but he manages to get healed up nicely. Dark Magician with a beautiful little hook there to set up the rest of his team, shutting them down quickly, and they have a very nice lead here, 30% already on this first point, and we see there Nazul going in deep. This is what I was talking about. He separates himself from the team. There he manages to actually stay alive though and gets a beautiful Earth Shadow onto them, pinning 4 if I'm not mistaken there, and now he goes to the back line, swinging that incredibly beautiful hammer, that gold hammer. There we see him charging Krakens off the edge there, but paying with his own life, and that's good enough when you've taken the point. He lost his own life, but his team took the point, and it's their turn to start building up some percentage points now.
That's definitely a gameplay you want to see from a Reinhardt, getting at those amazing Earth Shatters, and then sometimes taking one for the team, sacrificing himself to get that kills that do matter, because that was a very decent charge from him. But I see Prime here is charging MDO with the Winston. We have a nice little Raging Monkey at the moment. Earth Shatter going down by news yet again. Sadly, getting like, oh, we got the Graviton Surge there, and it seems like only so far Prime wins down, but the rest of the team is falling down. Sigs there, taken down by a Pulse Bomb, and Lucio is yet again lost alive there, and couldn't handle the pressure. Maybe he's making it out. Nope, he kind of committed suicide yet again. Some people just can't handle the pressure.
Bones deserves this on-fire streak at this stage. 2 beautiful ultimates. There he caught, what was that, 3 players?
Pretty much, yeah.
Just setting it up so nicely, and a nice amount of communication. Both times there that he's had the ultimate. Toy Rockets had the Tracer Pulse Bomb there as well, and they've just managed to combo them so nicely to get in there and just wreck the team so well. Both the tanks there, I thought they were surviving through that, but it was just because it was a Roadhog and Reinhardt, both of which have super high health pools, and it just took a while for them to whittle it down, but they did it eventually and just really cleaned up the rest of the team so nicely now, and they are closing in on this point now with 75%. It may just be the last push here for onii-chan, so they need to make this count. They've got a lot of ultimates. Kraken's got that Pulse Bomb. Sigs has his Shadow. Dark Magician can do a lot of damage with that whole hog, and they've got a good position here where they now sound barrier up, and oh no, they're getting wiped by this xTc side, splitting up there and just getting wrecked on the side. Dark Magician manages to pick up 1, but it's now him versus the other 5 players from xTc.
Toy Rocket of this Reaper is doing an amazing job. Did so much damage there. Almost basically single-handedly, I would say, kill 3 players there, because that once that shotgun hits you in the face, you are doomed. But yes, xTc actually did a very nice defense there. onii-chan actually did try their best, taking some few, you know, comebacks there, here and there, but sadly did not get the full comeback that I wanted. But it's not over yet. They actually have a chance to come back and then still show xTc that they can do it on this map. But even if I don't, they still have 2 maps remaining if they do take the second one. Guys, if you are just joining us today, this is the DGL Amber Do or Die Cup, where we have xTc Black versus vLBaka onii-chan. And yes, we are on the first map. The first 2 rounds went to xTc, and we are on the 3rd round on the first map.
So we've seen a lot of consistent hero picks from xTc now. They've swapped. Toy Rocket went on to that. Was the Tracer in the beginning, went on to the Reaper to great effect and did very, very well, and now swapped out to the McCree. Obviously just favoring that lovely control from the flashbang in these close quarters of this. Nozzle we see charging through to the end, gets the pick on Dark Magician Soldier, and now he's swinging, leaving Siggs alone in the corner there. Can't do anything. A nice little shield by who's that? Prime on the Zarya, actually manages to keep him alive there. I thought he was a goner for sure, but that Zarya bubble kept him alive so well, and they managed to push now and keep everyone alive as we see Bones running around the back and just into the open, but doesn't get picked off. Now Nazul's just charging. He doesn't care at all about any shields. He is the tank of note with his Reinhardt. Takes out the enemy Reinhardt, whiffs the Earth Shatter though. I think he only just managed to get the Lucio, and it's now Prime's turn to get the Graviton Surge, but there's not a lot of follow-up there, and they've managed to keep most of their players healthy and on this point.
Yeah, it seems like Prime is actually staying alive so well, giving them a run for the money. Another Graviton Surge going down, and another Earth Shatter there from Stakes there. It seems like onii-chan is definitely showing they are the team to reckon with on this map, having a nice little defense there. Nazube and a lost life with Toy Rocket at the back, just doing some little pot shots there, seeing where he can get damaged. But Kraken's is some fast chase there, taking him down. Sorry, no. We have the Anna. Yet again, the nice little Annas. It seems like we are getting a call for a pause here, so they are pausing the game. Yes, while we have a pause, what do you think xTc is doing wrong at this moment? Well, they're not actually able to get any point. I mean, in the first 2 rounds they were doing insanely well, but now it seems like onii-chan is giving them a run for their money on this. It seems like they could actually turn this map around.
Honestly, I think it might just be their positioning. The first 2 maps, they're very open maps, so if you're standing far back, it's pretty much okay. You're just going to be baited into shooting the Ryan Shield, shooting the Zarya that's jumping around in front of you, and not getting to the supports. But here, it's so important to have that really good positioning, because if your Reinhardt drops the shield, and I think Nazul is charging in maybe a little bit too much. He was doing that yesterday, and we've seen a couple of charges where he's ended up too deep, and he's gotten away with it today. But he's leaving his teams, his squishy backline. His Big Papa has been shut down a couple of times there, not by his fault, because he needs to try and keep line of sight. But the problem is, to keep line of sight, he has to be so close to the action, where normally he can stand back 10-20 meters and get those shots in to heal. But here he has to be so close, and it's just allowing Siggs to get into the backline. Dark Magician, with an incredibly accurate play so far, has been doing very well, and they're just not being able to get to that sort of surviving place now and keep those supports alive. And onii-chan is just doing exceptionally well. We see Endarium there on his Anna is just doing incredibly well, on fire at this stage, keeping that front line alive. And I think onii-chan has just got the more disciplined play at this stage.
Oh no, definitely. Siggs and Prime is doing a very good combination there with the Zarya and the Reinhardt. Even though with Reinhardt his shield, Prime is still keeping him alive, you know, making sure he absorbed a little bit of extra damage, making sure Prime does more damage. So that's a good combination there. We have the little Sabrefox going down there, while Lucio, which is Zenya. Nazul's trying to get Lucio down. It seems like Siggs got taken out by Sleep Dart, pushing onii-chan completely off. They actually got wiped off by Patches there with the nice little sorry, the nice little auto-aim vision. I've completely forgotten the word for that. But it seems like xTc actually, yeah, attack visor, thank you so much. But it seems like xTc actually did hear us there, and they made a nice little comeback, pushing onii-chan off. But onii-chan made a lot of progress on that meter there, so xTc has to catch a bit up. It is not over yet for xTc, but it can still definitely go in favor of onii-chan for this moment.
Certainly, a little bit of heads-up play there from Patches on that last push. He saw that Dark Magician had that high ground and was doing so well there, just raining down with his soldier, and he just snuck around the back, and that's what I was talking about. Patches' positioning is so fantastic. He saw that their Dark Magician was up in the air, and now we see a lovely little pin. He snuck around the back, took the high position, killed Patches, and then rained down with his ultimate from above to take that last fight. And now we see onii-chan with a lovely push here. We saw a great Earth Shatter from Sigs there to take out two of the players. They've only lost Prime, and they've got more than enough health at this stage. Sigs just getting hit with the anti-heal grenade, but he's still alive. He's still contesting this point, but they need to do slightly more than that. They need to be able to turn this over, because the points are still ticking up for this xTc side, and if they don't clear it out soon, they may have to take this into an overtime.
Yeah, at the moment we see that xTc is doing a lot of effort to make sure they keep this point. A Gravity Surge going down, but Nazu is keeping that shield in the correct place. Another Gravity Surge going down, but xTc, Six is the only one getting caught there, but he is staying alive. These Annos are on fire today. Nazu getting another nano boost there. The flippin' Annos are just amazing today. Rhinos are going head on head at the moment. But it seems like xTc is making a nice little attempt here, getting the play, making sure onii-chan does not get it, and it seems Dark is the last one alive there, making sure that, sadly, not getting on the points, sadly not on time there, making it, but xTc gets this first map.
xTc did very well to shut this out 3-0 there. Bones here has to be that Graviton Surge doing so well here. Just managed to pick it all up, even with the Transcendence. As the Transcendence goes down, he throws the Graviton Surge out with that Pulse Bomb to do so much damage, and he just gets 4 kills, is that? On his own. Patches doing a bit more damage, and a really nice bit of play there to secure that first point there. So well done to him. Patches dealing phenomenal amounts of damage on his soldier there. Almost 17,000 just with really good positioning there. I don't know if you saw, and at the end of that round, onii-chan had the great Graviton Surge where they trapped 3 or 4 of the xTc players, and Patches had the presence of mind to run around to the back, put on his tack visor, and actually put a huge amount of pressure on it. While everyone was focusing onto the Graviton Surge, Patches was there doing a huge amount of damage and being pretty much uncontested on that soldier, and he can really turn the tide of a battle. And I think that's why everyone survived through, is because he was actually shutting down a lot of the damage coming in.
Oh no, definitely. Patches' positioning was outstanding today. He was on top of onii-chan, making sure if they are there, he is one step ahead of them. And then Troy Rocket also basically always constantly flanking from the other side. So onii-chan actually sadly had no chance there, basically getting flanked from any direction. The pressure was constantly on them. So for them actually lasting that long was insanely wow. I mean, Six there with basically just being alone most of the time there. Also, getting the support there from Idiom and with the Anna. He was amazing, doing an amazing job there, and then Prime also trying to support him as well. They actually have a nice little composition there, but xTc did prove that they are the better team for that map, but it's not over yet because we are getting on to the next map, which is Watchport Gibraltar, and this is one of my favorite maps to play my favorite character, and that is Bastion, one of the most hated players in the game, besides Hanzo and Amei.
Oh no, yes. You toxic player. Report! Everyone spam chat, report.
You cannot report the fast. But yes, what is your thoughts on this map? We haven't actually seen anybody play this map. If I remember correctly, we haven't casted a game on this map. Or sorry, no, that is wrong. We have casted a game on this, but no team actually got past the first point.
No, it's certainly going to be interesting. Patches is loving this Widowmaker at this stage, and if there was ever a map that favored Widowmaker, this has to be it. So many long sightlines, such a nice bit of 3D structure for him to play around with, and no, he swapped off, instead going for the soldier. Still a very good pick for this map. Gets that high ground like I was saying, but very interesting bit of strategy coming out from the side of xTc. We see Wood on the Symmetra and Toy Rocket actually going for a Tourbillon. Maybe a little bit of cheese strats, but these two heroes together are incredibly powerful. So it's going to be interesting to see if this onii-chan side can break through. They've got Prime on the D.Va, they've got Dark Magician on the Genji, which like to do the flanking, and if the two of them can get up and put a lot of pressure into Toy Rocket's face, they could do a lot of damage. And it's going to be interesting to see though how Dark Magician plays around that turret.
Yeah, I'm quite interested to see what they are thinking at the moment. That turret there, yes, that's going to be a very annoying. And Symmetra, look at these little turrets at the top. So if there's a flank anywhere, they are going to get stuck in that. Verd is definitely going to be in the top of this game to see what we can do here. You see like a nice little Winston already getting engaged by that turret. He's like, what the hell is happening? And there we go, Verd getting his first kill on Lucio with those turrets.
Oh, we see Big Papa Dean being pushed down by D.Va. Really nice bit of play by Prime, but doesn't manage to capitalize on it. Nazul sees his healer's gone down, and like all good tanks should, just jumps in there, makes sure to do good work there, and manages to keep her alive. So they are being pushed off, going back from the high ground, but that's what you expect at this stage. The important thing is they haven't taken any losses at this stage, and they've been able to do a lot of damage to this onii-chan side, and they've been getting some good ultimate charge here, especially on patches, which is such a dangerous ultimate in this map.
Oh no, definitely. You can still see that Toy Rocket is making very much use of the turret, and Verd also placing it above this warrior. That's going to be very annoying for the enemy team, especially when you're constantly pushing it and getting engaged from the front and the back by turrets. Those are kind of hard to reach for the normal, you know, the Rhino player or Winston or so like that. But it should be quite interesting.
Quickly, apparently our overlay is still on. You may want to take that off so that the guys can see the map. Sorry about that, guys.
I do apologize for that, people. This tends to happen sometimes. But yes, welcome back. Oh gosh.
Sorry, guys. We are seeing a little bit of what you guys have missed is that we are running a Toy Rocket Tourbillon and a Wood Symmetra. Been doing really well now. Haven't actually given up any sort of position. They lost our high ground quickly, but they didn't have any picks against them. And now onii-chan is hard pressed to try and push in here. We see the D.Va bomb going in, the Transcendence trying to keep everyone alive, but Six is already down, trying to get to that back line, and Dark Magician's looking for his opening as this onii-chan side is getting very aggressive now. They're doing very well. They managed to get through the car wash, and now we see Dark Magician versus Nazul in the side there.
Yeah, it seems like the flippin' Toy Rocket is doing an amazing job there with the Tourbillon. He's actually still staying alive in the middle of all that damage, still deploying shields for him, you know, getting a bit of extra health there. Bones is getting there in the front, see if he can get a little hook and prematurely, you know, stop the enemy team there. But and Verd, yet again with those turrets, he is on top of this game. The Symmetra still sticking to her full time, you know. And then as always, you see the top here of the Roadhogs always, you know, being a bit of annoying. But it seems like onii-chan is getting on a high ground, seeing what they can do on top. They're causing as much damage. But Patches is just repelling him off there.
Very interesting to see how spread out this team is, and especially against the Genji and Winston combo, it can be very dangerous, but they're doing very well to pull out when they need to. Dark Magician pulls the blade now and only manages to get one kill there, but he does enough to make space for the rest of his team to come in, and they've pushed incredibly hard. Dark Magician being the only loss at this stage, and now they've got the numbers advantage on this point. We see Sigs on that Winston going into the back line, going crazy monkey, keeping Nazul from protecting his team, but Toy Rocket has his ultimate up, and that turret is starting to destroy people and just do a huge amount of damage. But they do seem to have kept the numbers up, and they are actually being repelled by this xTc side.
Yes, you see, Prime actually took out Vuj teleports, so that actually gave them a bit of an upper edge there. But even with that, xTc still managed to repel onii-chan, completely holding them off, you know, staying alive just enough of a team to come back in. Toy Rocket going Molten Corvin and just completely wiping them there. It's actually quite amazing with this combination. You don't really see this very often, but it is working for them at this moment.
It certainly is, and there we see a cheeky little D.Va turret placement, but Prime takes him out very well, gets a lot of use out of his mech, and he does get demeched, if I'm not mistaken, there before the Transcendence could come through, but this is their last push. They do need to make sure something gets to that, stays on that payload at this stage. Wood is doing a lot of work on his Symmetra, gets the bubble to stay alive, but he and Bones are the last ones left. That they seem to be doing a lot of work as Dark Magician flits around on the back as Tracer, but Tracer can't do much against attack visor like that. Patch is doing a lot of work now, just keeping the Zenran off the payload on his Lucio, and they manage a full hold here, just 80 meters in.
Yeah, that is quite amazing, but it's something onii-chan should have done. But as soon as they saw that Toy Rocket was using those little turrets, he should know to switch, because that turret is a big counter for Tracer. It completely stops him. Even if you do blink around, that auto aim finds you so fast. And like you said with attack visor, it is basically it's auto aim. It's something you have to change. The Tracer was a good pick from the start, but as soon as you see that the Torbjorn, you just have to change. It's one of those things. Even if you have to go back and spawn, you have to change, because otherwise you're just gonna, be a 5v6.
I think that was really nice bit of play there from xTc. Got that first couple of picks there. Really, the patience that they showed there though in the first point, and Nazul jumping down on his Reinhardt to save. I think it was Big Papa Dean who got knocked off as the Anna. Managing to keep her alive was so critical to their victory there, because if they had lost that, if they had let their main healer die, then that would have been a much easier push from onii-chan. But onii-chan not managing to actually get the flanking, not managing to do their homework and clear out those turrets from both Torbjorn and the Symmetra, just meant that they could not run in. No matter how many times they tried, no matter what sort of lineup they could do, they didn't clear out the turrets fast enough. And we saw a really close try there, but they just didn't manage to do it. And xTc, with a really nice hold here, is set to close out this game 2-0, with all they have to do is get to that first checkpoint.
Yeah, this is actually putting a lot of stress on onii-chan at this moment, because that is basically just around that first corner push. And yeah, that can be very stressful at this kind of moment, because especially with Patches being on the Widowmaker, it's going to get the viable picks that they need at the moment. And also Toy Rocket there with the Farah and Big Papa Dean also with the Mercy. That's a very annoying combination there, and that's going to maybe cost the starting push. As you see, Nazul's there going with the Winston, trying to push them off. And Toy Rocket following up there, they're trying to make sure they can get the overground, but onii-chan is showing that nope, the high ground is ours, you can push yourself away. But xTc is making a nice little push at the bottom, making sure they can get as much time as possible for the little area they have to push.
Toy Rocket's doing very well. They're just managing to stay alive. I mean, they've got 3 counters to a Pharah. They've got Krakens on that soldier. They've got Dark Magician on the McCree, and they've got Endarium on the Anna. All 3 of which can shut down an Anna if she's not careful with, a Pharah if she's not careful on her positioning. But doing very well to stay alive. Does go down at this stage now, and Nazul's in there just trying to clean up a couple of heroes in the back line, but he's now 1v2. You're making such good use of that bubble, just weaving in and out, making sure no one can take the damage, and they managed to get it in the first minute of this map. They managed to push all the way to the end there, and Nazul doing such a lot of work there on the back of that Winston. Just good combination there by Toy Rocket, getting the couple of splash damage rockets in there, getting the team low, and Nazul finishing off anyone on low health.
Yes, it was sad to see, but actually to see that onii-chan got taken out this fast. I was actually really enjoying casting the game. Guys, once again, I do apologize for the overlay. I completely forgot about that, so once again, please forgive me. I am sorry. But yes, xTc did an amazing job defending that payload there, making sure that onii-chan didn't even stand a chance when it came to pushing. It's actually, something you see quite often from the xTc when it comes to that map, is that they actually know how to work that so well. And as you can see, they did yet again. That's definitely one of their top favorite maps, I would say. And Patches, as always, being so annoying with that Widowmaker. He is an insanely good sniper, constantly hammering the guys from all over the place. But it's it's one of those things, just nothing you can actually do.
Certainly, they did very well, and considering xTc struggled with their defense against Eden last night, it was so nice to see them picking up that Torb Symmetra combination and doing such an impressive hold here on Gibraltar today. So, guys, I have been Ulturism joining Sabrefox91o. We hope you've enjoyed the cast. Sorry again about that overlay issue, but I hope the rest of it was really enjoyable watching.
Yes, guys, just a small disclaimer, this stream was made possible by Gamer Gadgets and Sadie South Africa. Guys, from myself and Ulturism, as he said, thank you so much for joining us. There will definitely be more casts. This Thursday, we are going to be casting 2 games back to back, so please do, tune in for that. And as always, thank you so much.
If you guys want to stay up to date with our casting, you can follow us on Facebook. It's Sabrefox91o and Ulturism. You can follow us on Twitter as well. We tweet out whenever we're going live, whenever we've got a